We're back, people, and today we're bringing up film on Jaquan Burton, another Miami Dolphins UDFA. He played, out of Florida Atlantic, and this guy is an absolute freak of nature athlete. Like, he made that Bruce Feldman freak of nature list that he does every year. Like, before this past season, he made that list, the freak list, and he was like 15 on that list, and it's actually like a pretty big deal. Like if you go look at it, it's a lot of big, very good names. Chop Robinson's like 9 on the list. And yeah, you can absolutely see that explosiveness on the field as a deep threat. I feel like, that's where he creates the separation, feels comfortable working on that vertical plane. He shows at times he has that ability to, work the route stem. I think he just needs more consistency. I think he's a little tight-hipped, which is unfortunate for him to, get in and out of those breaks at a consistent level. One thing I actually do really like about his game is his ability after the catch. I feel like he's got more than just explosiveness. He has that ability to show off like play strength and contact balance, which is nice, and then combine that with some footwork. So, we can watch him go to work after the catch. Very, very explosive, fun player. I don't really see his path to like making the main roster because of all the bodies on the receiver room. If you go and take a look, it's a very filled room. We don't even know who's going to make it out of like those 8 right now. So I think Burton's like your kind of prime practice squad candidate. Because I feel like even the wide receivers that don't make it out of those 8, like a lot of them will get picked up by other teams potentially. So I think Burton, really good practice candidate that you're trying to develop, because he still needs to work on some of his details within his route. I think consistency with his hands and tracking down the field, definitely needs to work on that overall, the consistency part of his game. But there's so much to like overall with that athleticism, having like that we're in like 4.3 speed, 46 inch vert. That stuff is insane, and you can see that on the film. Also, going against better competition, his release off the line, I feel like he definitely at least attempts different stuff going back and forth, which is nice. Would like to see him maybe eat up a little bit more cushion, be a little more timed up with the tempo a little bit better. But then once he gets up, boom, fight through the route stem. Like, he's pretty undersized, like 5'9", 180-ish. Fight through the route stem. Like, he plays with good strength. He plays bigger than his size. Love him able to work through contact, get down the field, and then just eat up all that. Like look how fast he just eats up space right there and stacks over the top, and then runs through. Shows good tracking on that play. I just think it needs to be more consistent on the field, but he definitely has that speed to work on that vertical plane and absolutely make big plays. Here it looks like he's gonna face some press, but then he identifies the corners blitzing, so he just shows off some good football awareness. Just to, not work down the field into the safety, get your head around, catch the ball, square this up, and then look at him just make this guy miss so quick, spin out of it. Like, because when he catches it, his feet are kind of like off the ground right here, and this guy's about to hit him. To get your feet back on the ground, prepare for contact, spin out, show off that athleticism, and then make the guy miss in space, maintain your speed too through that cut. Like, I really, really enjoy watching people be able to play through contact, and I feel like Burton was one of those better players within the class with his ability to play through contact, especially at his size, and you have those types of explosive numbers. Very, very impressive stuff from Burton. Here, bottom of the screen, just another example of him winning down the field vertically, ball slightly underthrown. I think he does a good job when he just has to basically work speed, because I feel like, he still wants to understand the tempo of stuff. So like, being able to slow down your route at times. But here he just goes pure speed, which really sells vertical, especially to the outside, gets this guy to open up his hips and then breaks across the middle. I feel like that's one thing he would be good at if he ever did have to see playing time, is just being like a clear out option down the field, because he absolutely flies and wastes no time to get down there. And I kind of want to see it versus better competition. But Burton, very, very exciting player to watch. That freak athlete. I feel like he's a guy you try to end up developing, like the little nod there to the outside to make these plays down the field. Pretty similar to the last route, like very, very fast off the ball, waste no time, good play speed. This time I feel like he gives a slight nod once he gets up into this cushion. Like, he works into that blind spot for a second, which gets this guy to hesitate long enough for him to break across the middle. So showing some nuance there in that play. It's just not something that I think was consistent on his film. Like, a lot of his best plays, he was doing these things at a much higher level, consistent. This was probably the most like fluid route I saw in the film, and then him making a tough catch too. I don't think his hands were super consistent. And I think, overall I would like to see him run some better routes. But when it was all put together, like, it was really nice because he has that athletic ability. Get up on that cushion, give you a 1, 2, and then, another little move at the top of the route, basically a 3-step thing right there. But hard. You can see there's the fluidity in that lower half right there on this play. Boom, just really selling this route with his entire body, his eyes. Get back up, break it across his face. Very, very impressive. And then makes a tough catch too. Has a very limited catch range due to his size. It makes a nice little catch there at the top of the route. Burn, just getting open. Nothing too crazy here. We can see it from this angle too. Just guy has, you can just see how explosive he is to make this cut. I feel like when he has to get like super horizontal, he can struggle to really get in and out of his breaks. But when he, it's more at an angle like this, very, very sudden player. Like, the guy has his inside leverage. He's given that hard stab and breaks across his face so fast. And then good job with his hands here too, hitting like a quick arm over too. Like, I feel like he's good with that stuff. More of a body catcher, but like the initial part of that route, Burn was, I think, out of the guys they brought in, was one more of the exciting players to watch film on. I do think, just because he was a receiver though, he's one of the guys with the less chance to make like the main roster, just because there's too many bodies there. Even though I do think there's a decent chance for practice squad. This is the type of player you keep on there to develop some decent, moves here, getting across. For a guy that's more of a vertical route runner, he still shows some flashes of being able to work across the middle, which is nice. And here, breaking on the comeback, probably could have been a little more efficient, but overall, not terrible to get in and out of that break. For a guy who I think is a little tight-hipped, it could be a lot worse, especially when you combine that with all his other athletic traits, which he has some absolutely insane ones. And that, I talked about limited catch radius. He also has that insane vertical, which he did make some big catches on field where he had to get up field vertically. Here, versus man-to-man, he does a really good job. Like, usually when you're running like these crossers like this, it can be hard to create separations with, without just pure speed. But he actually gives you a little something. Like, I like how he attacks the leverage, kind of, is ready to just go across, but gives you a little bit of work right here, a little hesitation, foot fire, hard stab that left foot outside of his frame, which frees him long enough, and then work across the field now, catch the ball, barely go out of bounds right there, almost, would have taken that to the house. But I like seeing the different types of moves from Burn. Good hard sell. Like, this guy has inside leverage. You're running your slant. Love how hard he sells the vertical right here. When you're running these routes, you really just want to sell vertical, and he just takes hard, like that hard look to the outside, wastes no time, and then boom, 6 that foot in the ground. Once he gets that DB to open up his hips, then breaks it back across, catch the ball. Still body catching, but it was a nice third down conversion on a third and, pretty short. Running that slant, just getting open, so like seeing some separation ability. Overall, very, very exciting player. That he's just a freak athlete that I think just needs to learn how to be more consistent as a football player. But you can see that, he plays with toughness, play strength, like contact balance at his size after the catch. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if he's actually a pretty good special teams player. I think he has a skill set that would be pretty good in special teams, and I'm like saying possibly as a returner, but also as like a guy that would be like a receiver that could play like gunner and stuff like that, which could always end up being valuable down the line if he was going to make an NFL roster, which I could see it. I just don't see it for the Dolphins with their specific room right now. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.